Chapter 1. Carson Dyer slipped silently through the scrub brush at the edge of the Mexican vineyard, his night vision goggles providing an eerie green glow to his path. The air was dry, and only a slight breeze blew down from the mountains in the distance, barely rustling the grape leaves, but sending the scent of earth and vegetation his way. The north-south rows were meticulously laid out. The vines, lush, although not all were heavy with fruit at this time of year. With stealth, he moved down the alleyways and rows, focused on his surroundings due to the mission at hand, not the beauty of the landscape. Many wineries used dogs to guard their vineyards, but their intel indicated this estate had none. Hardly surprising, considering the owners would never expect anyone to dare step foot on this land. This estate was guarded more by the threat of cartel retaliation than any real need for foot soldiers or dogs, although armed guards still patrolled the area. Coming to the last alleyway at the end of the row, he signaled to the others with him, waiting until they reported. "In position," came each voice through his radio. "Stay on target. Get as close to the house as possible. Note security guards. Send all feeds to Jeb. Do not engage unless necessary." He turned toward the man on his left to see his nod, knowing Rick would follow his instructions. Rick Rankin was a former SEAL and had experience with Carson's business partner in the original Lighthouse security investigations firm based in Maine. Radioing similar commands to the two others circling around the vines toward the winery barns, he received affirmatives from Leo and Poole. Both Lionel Parker and Frederick Poole had served with Special Ops, as had all his men. These two also worked for several years for Carson when he'd first started a security firm hiring out bodyguards to the stars. Fucking nightmare of a job. Continuing reconnaissance as he stealthily traveled on the dirt path toward the mansion on the hill, he grinned. This job, right here, right now. This is fucking worth it. The massive estate included the family's mansion, several guest houses, extensive lawns and gardens with patios and a pool, the grape farms, the large buildings where the grapes were pressed and the wines produced, barns for equipment, and the public wine tasting area. There were several entrances, each with a guardhouse, and then guards and workers that lived in housing nearby. Getting eyes on the property and buildings security of one of the winery owners in the Guadalupe area of Mexico was their mission. Not just any winery, one that was a suspected cover for smuggling drugs to the United States by a cartel drug lord. Tasked by the FBI and DEA, Carson was ready to show that LSI WC could handle the private special op missions at this level. Their reconnaissance had let them know the entire family was not in residence at the moment, giving them the perfect timing for their mission. The guards would be lazier, and the entire winery estate would be easier to access. The electronic security system on the winery was tight, and Carson needed his men to physically tap into the cameras so that the override of the system could be accomplished by his computer guru, Jeb Torres. Jeb, normally back at their compound, was currently on a boat off the coast waiting for their return. His gaze narrowed as he slipped around one of the buildings. "Dolby, I see a light in a guest house. You take the main house and I'll check it out." "Roger that." Peeling away from the dirt path leading to the main house, Carson changed his trajectory toward the lighted window of the smaller guest house. The mansion was L-shaped with gardens and a pool to the east. A guest house was down the hill and on the other side of the pool. Crouching, he moved through the shadows to the side of the guest house, staying hidden. The windows were covered with lace sheers, offering transparency while blurring the images of those in the room. Peering in from his vantage point, he observed a coiffed older woman sitting in a chair, her feet propped on an ottoman. Wearing a deep purple robe with a monogram embroidered on the lapel, her gray hair styled and holding a china cup in her hands, she was smiling at someone just out of his view.